Hello, Internet. I am kcStranger. I am joined by my three wonderful players, and this is the Crystal Tomb. As always, the Crystal Tomb is brought to you by XSplit Broadcaster, who is I've still not gotten my first check from, and from Tractor Blonde, who actually paid in cash a while back, and I thank him for his support. Previously, the party learned that Kaline's friend Dwelig was the anchor that bound the Sons of Kual to reality. And so, they were confronted with a choice: to kill Dwelig and undo the manipulations of the timeline, to try to imprison them again without undoing their work, or to seek some other way. When Cain killed Dwelig, their choice was made. The Sons of Kual were overwhelmingly powerful, and the party won battles only as Kalea and the creation spirits borrowed power for them from the gods themselves. Ultimately, though, they were victorious. As they dispatched these otherworldly beings one by one, they saw visions of where they'd come from. They'd been shut out of reality itself, their lives a painful nightmare. They'd struggled for untold millennia to find some foothold in reality. They'd watched and waited patiently, had whispered and cajoled and enticed to lure mortals into aiding their attempt. At last, they risked their foothold in an effort to exterminate the gods themselves. And as the party struck down beyond, the greatest of them, it seemed that their efforts had failed utterly. And we pick up where we left last time. Clean? Clean, are you awake? Breakfast is ready. Clean, you roll over and sit up, and you think to yourself, strange, I don't normally lie down like this while I meditate. You look across the room and see Cain, Fallon, and Gamork still sprawled on the floor in sleep. Memories flood back, and then the voice you heard registers. Mother?
Mom, what are you doing? How'd you get here?
How'd I get here? This is my house.
What?
Just come down when you're ready.
My companions look sound asleep.
They're starting to sort of roll a little bit, but they are all still asleep.
Alright, I'll go downstairs. I don't need Radiclus sassing my mama.
Okay. Yep, you get up. You sort of brush yourself off. You are, let me see. Do you change clothes? Or actually, let me think here. Would you even be in...
I'm a disheveled mess.
Yeah. Okay, I'm thinking you would actually be in your normal daily wear, but you are definitely a disheveled mess. You go downstairs and you actually see something strange, which is that your mother herself appears to have been working in the kitchen, which normally she wouldn't do. Has laid out a spread of what looks like fruit pancakes. Actually, there's some sort of I don't know, call it like a chai spice smell in the air. A few juices. She seems to have set out actually a flask of wine just in case. And she smiles as you come down. She says, and this is what I thought of. I'm not just doing it for the meme. You're finally awake. Good to see you, Colleen.
I wish, man.
Right? The entire thing's been a dream. But I was so worried when you all came in last night. You were all a mess, but she looks you up and down. Well, the night of sleep has done you some good anyway. Please, get something to eat.
Say we came in last night. Also, Mom, I know you don't cook much, but wine for breakfast?
She shrugs. I thought maybe one of your friends. I don't know. I don't know what they're into.
So to get wine drunk.
I kind of cock my head like I don't understand exactly what she's trying to imply.
She looks at you and says, "Well, I only met them the once, and I don't know. It seemed like you'd finished whatever it was you were doing, so I can put the wine bottle away if you don't think they'll
Well,
want it."
it's true. I mean, Kane did try to break into our house, I suppose.
She
um,
nods.
should I fetch them? Also, how do we get here? Did I miss all that?
She stops for a moment and says, I'm not sure. I haven't really gotten the story from you all, to be honest, but you came in last night saying that you'd finally finished something. Um, you mentioned something about leaving on Ongrun and finally finding your way back. And it was pretty clear it wasn't in you to tell the entire story last night, so I took you all upstairs. Or, well, frankly, the servants did a lot of it, but you know.
Uh, okay. So that aside,
Mm.
where's Dweelig? Is he all right? Is he here?
She looks at you for a moment. Dweelig, you say? Not sure
Yes,
I've
we
ever
would.
heard that name.
What? My best friend. He's been with us forever. Well, not Tails, but you know what I mean. He's a human.
A look of slight concern creeps into her expression. She looks about, the sort of like various kitchen tools and stuff she's been working with. Seems to make a decision. Picks up 2 plates, puts some pancakes and fruit on both of them, and sits down at the table. Or actually, no, wait. She says, um, "Well, you asked about your friends. If you think they're up for it, then do go ahead and fetch them. Everything is fresh right now. Or if you want, we can talk about this first, I suppose."
I kind of put my head in my hands like I'm hungover.
She
Blasted all bloody. Who has that amulet? It was a cane of Fowlin. I kind of like hoist myself up and try to go get them.
and try to go what?
I'm gonna go get them.
Okay.
Specifically, I want to know who has the timeline amulet.
Oh yeah, I believe that is Fallon,
Yeah, I think
actually.
it is too,
But
but I'm
yeah.
so.
Okay. You see your mom. You sort of glance back just once as you leave. You see your mom sort of looking at you with a look of concern on her face. Her name's Kate, by the way. Okay. Um,
Guess you wondered who your mom was.
well, no, I was half reminding myself. But you see her sort of a bit of a concerned
Fallon.
look, and you finally just turn and go back upstairs. As you open the door, you see Gamork sort of open his eyes but leave his head down on his paws. The other two are just sort of lolling about. They appear to have shifted since you left.
Side note, Radiclus. I didn't know your name was Fallon until our first session together, but my mom's name was Cave, and they're lesbian lovers in Guild Wars. And Colleen is a character from one of the Guild Wars books who's a necromancer. It's like my name was almost Cave. We were almost perfect.
Nice.
All right. I will try to wake them up. I guess I'll start with Kane. Like Kane, pancakes already.
Kate just kind of gets up nervously. Oh, okay. Thanks.
For what it's worth, you
Nervously.
definitely have some sleep fog, but you don't have any like gaps in memory or anything. You like it comes back to you
I
pretty
remember
quickly.
killing Dweelag. Yeah, no. Like that. It's so Kate's being awkward. He's like, he just kind of rushes out of the room.
All right.
Not concerned with where we are, how we got here. It feels awkward for killing my best friend that I haven't addressed with you.
We'll come back to Kane in a moment. Kane has left the room.
Okay, let me go get Radiclus, or let's get Gamork first.
Okay. You reach down and, sort of pet Gamork a little bit, and he...
Who's touching my dog?
Well, certainly not someone whose mother made you pancakes. I take no responsibility.
I don't know how to take that.
Fallon, do you still have that that ring that changed color?
Do you mean the time gem?
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
It was. I have it in my character sheet that it was blue the last time we checked.
Mhm.
can you tell me what it looks like? I can't. I don't know how we got here, but apparently we came in last night, and Dwelling may or may not exist. So I don't think we're in the right place. But I will take the pancakes.
Well, Fallon says, it used to be blue last time I looked. Let me pull it out of my pack. Let's see. And it is.
You fish it out, and it's clear. It's translucent.
Oh, shit.
Wasn't clear supposed to be normal?
I just remember the changing color was supposed to tell us what happened. Can I roll to remember?
Sure, just roll. You can roll intelligence to just try to remember what you already know, or you can roll arcana to make inferences based on that.
Well, just straight intelligence, you say?
Yeah.
All right. I did that first.
Okay. I'll tell you what
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. Tell me what I know.
And if you want to know more, you can try an arcana roll. So yeah, when you first got it, I believe it was actually green or maybe like a bluish green. And then as the timeline shifted a few times in response to Sons of Quell sort of altering things, like as you used abilities or did various things that sort of like let them gain more of a foothold, it shifted all the way until it was a sort of like purple color. And that's actually where you left it. That was the previous time you saw it. It was purple.
Okay.
So you're not sure about it beyond that, other than what you were told is just that the original color reflected sort of where you were when you got it, and that it would change color as you moved.
It was green when we found it, and then it turned blue and then purple, and now it's clear.
Well, that's curious on its own, but it doesn't seem like we're quite where we started, which I guess would be. I mean, if we hadn't done anything, where would it be? But
We could be in a timeline we don't even know, and one we've never known, or the true one, or who knows.
I'm not sure how to feel about this quite
Let's go see if pancakes taste the same in this timeline.
yet. Good plan. I always like my mom's pancakes, assuming they're real, not.
Right,
And
real
some
quick,
other
I'm
plates.
sorry to break the immersion, but it's already happening to me because of the Spotify commercial. But did y'all ever watch the show Sliders?
No, you
No.
mentioned it though. I do remember this.
Okay. They kept going to alternate Earths, alternate
Oh, okay.
dimensions, and
Oh, yeah.
they thought they got to their home one, and the guy was like, "I'll know because my gate to my house always squeaked a certain way," and he pushes the gate and it doesn't squeak, and then he leaves, and then like the handyman's like, all right, well, your gate's fixed, I'll see you later. Like right after they leave.
Oh, that's funny.
No!
Yeah, and then of course they like jumped out. And,
Cool.
What a fucking twist. I'm shook. Yeah, I
All
just
right.
I'm
So
shook.
going down for pancakes then.
Yeah.
All right, Kane, you would have left a little bit earlier, so you make your way down the stairs. The smell of pancakes guides you. You find your way to a table where a concerned-looking elven woman, who at a glance does actually kind of resemble Colleen, sits at a table. She sort of like weakly but genuinely smiles as you approach the table. She says, help yourself. And she seems to think to herself for a moment. Kane?
Yeah, thanks. How long have we been here?
You came in last night.
Oh, of course. Okay, pancakes. You have anything to drink?
Yes. And you look and do see, like, water, juice, and that one flask of wine, or that one bottle of wine left out. Do you want anything else? She thinks coffee, tea?
Cade goes for the wine.
Okay. Brilliant.
But this time he drinks from a glass, not just straight from the bottle.
All right, so Kane, as you're starting to tilt back the glass of wine, Fallon, Colleen, and Gmork make their way down.
This is coffee. What
It
color
would
is the
be
wine?
that goes for the wine.
Can you see what color is the wine, by the way? It's coffee.
It's a relatively dark red.
Okay, it's coffee. Okay, thinks it's close enough. Coffee.
Clean will just hand wave the gesture.
Cade's like nervously like fidgeting in his seat.
I'll grab a stack of pancakes and hand them to Fallon.
Fallon holds them and says, "These are what are called. These are pancakes."
Cave nods and she says, "Don't often cook these days, but Clean's only in so often. Thought it was a special occasion, I guess."
How long has it been since Clean was last here?
She stops and thinks for a moment. You were in maybe 6 months ago? I do remember you all, although it's been a while.
You see, does that line up?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Fallon said that about the pancakes because he doesn't ever remember eating pancakes.
I mean, you didn't eat pancakes last time you were here.
I thought you were making a timeline joke.
Or ever in his life.
Or ever. And yeah.
Like her.
I mean, they're relatively normal pancakes, nice and fluffy, but they do definitely have some sort of like cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves thing going on.
I'm allergic to cinnamon. Cage would
Kane dies in the post.
Anaphylactic shot. Where's the EpiPen? JK. So, we're all eating breakfast, coffee.
Coffee.
So a bit of awkward silence passes, and finally Kate says, Colleen, you were asking me about someone. Did you want to talk more about that?
Yes, I mean, you certainly have to remember Dwayling. They all remember Dwayling. Don't you?
Fallon turns to Kane. Yeah, Kane, do you remember?
Fuck.
I feel like you and him had a connection.
That implies you knew him. I feel
Actually,
validated. I'm fine now.
let me check something real quick.
Hey,
Yes.
Cade, whatever happened to that demon army?
I guess it's gone.
Okay. So
Right.
Cave looks starts to say something about the Dweelig thing, and then when you mention the demon army, Cave says, "Okay, I do actually know that one."
Oh, good. You do remember something. Why does she remember Dweelig? Is that because of the god blasty thing?
The what?
Like, did he like exploded? Is that why she doesn't remember him? Is he like
Kane,
super
I'd
gone?
prefer you not talk about my best friend exploding.
I don't know how to describe what happened. This
Uh,
guy did a bunch of stuff just rapidly. It came out of him.
Cave nods and says, perhaps you all need time to talk some things through. Um, Look, she looks at you, Kane and Fallon. She says, letters came for the two of you, actually. So, Kane, to you, she hands over a small black envelope. Fallon, to
Thank you.
you, one with sort of a larger one, which just seems to be more normal parchment.
Why is
Um,
Fallon here?
and she says, and Colleen, I'll be in the sitting room. If you could come find me, perhaps once you're done with breakfast. I have something I need to talk with you about.
Fallon looks at Kane's letter and said, I bet that's your dad asking for money.
I would hope
Yes,
it was
mother.
awesome. He's a king thing in there. They have a whole like name.
So Kate stands up. She says, before I go, is there anything else I can do for you now?
These are delicious, by the way.
Very
Yes,
good pancakes.
thank you for the pancakes.
With that, she actually gives a very broad, genuine smile. And Colleen, again, you know that she doesn't cook very often. And says, oh, thank you very much. And
Kate
she
thinks
leaves.
he pours the wine. Great pancakes, yes. Kate opens his letter with the same knife he used for the pancakes.
Brilliant.
You're a monster.
Like that's where the evoke you. You killed my best friend, but open a letter with a syrupy knife? How dare you?
you
You're putting yourself in more of a hot pot than I've got you in.
So, Kane, yeah, you open the letter and you pull out actually sort of a dark red card. You open it up and actually written in golden ink on the inside. So, really rolling out all the stops here.
See, this can't be for my dad. It's red.
In sort of a graceful but sort of jaunty script, it says, hey, Kane, it's Tuli. I'm glad you're able to make it back and hope we can meet up soon. I'm writing this letter on behalf of a priestess from the Temple of Miros in Dale's Harbor. Her name is Cypriel Redrave. I think you might have traveled with her son for a while. Anyway, it seems like folks around here recognize her. I think you can trust her. Anyway, she asked me if I could ask you to come by the temple. I sketched a quick map in case you didn't remember the way, and actually, on the lower half of the card, there is indeed a perfectly functional little map of the city with a spot labeled on it. She said she wanted to talk with you about something called the chromatic ring. I decided not to press.
Right.
Anyway, hope you can come by. Maybe we can grab some lunch after or something.
How would Casey feel if Kate just didn't go because he wanted to keep the ring?
You have that option.
He has all that planned out, and Kate's like, nah, nah. Shit. Wait,
I
you
am
said
not
red?
making you do anything. Red Rave,
You said
yes.
you travel with her son? Was that Jado's character's last name?
No, that was
Aaron and
Red
this
Thorn.
Red Rave.
That is correct.
No, I
Who?
didn't.
Aaron and Red Rave.
Man, I can't
That was our
remember.
cleric.
Oh, the
Oh.
cleric.
The party
Yeah,
boy.
okay. I remember Ernan.
Yeah, we only had one. So,
Ernan.
oh, thank God for those god power ups. You'd be screwed.
Ernan.
Had a healing spell at sight. Okay. Well, Cade's gonna put that in his cloak for later. As he turns to the party, it's like, so how the fuck did we get here, guys?
Well, according to my mother, we came in late last night and we're very tired, but it seems we arrived on foot, so I'm very confused.
Does anyone remember? Oh, Casey, did you say you remember the stuff after the fight, or we don't remember it?
No, you remember everything as it's
All the
happened.
visions and stuff. Okay, cool. Do y'all remember all that stuff about like a building and like they had to find the tall building, but like couldn't find the tall building, and then they were sad.
Find a tall building?
Yeah.
I think
No.
he's referring to.
Casey had a bit where like they were trying to like climb to the tallest tower or peak or something.
He's
which
referring
was
to my
out.
narration when I had this up.
Yeah. And like they were so close, but they couldn't because at like the point we fought was at the tallest one thus far. But clearly it wasn't the right one. Because we knocked him down.
Let me see.
Do not know.
I, in my mind, we just like blacked out after the fight, and there was some narration. We woke up in Tyndall.
Surely, Fallon, you were all that stuff. We beat the big jellyfish, and then like we just I don't know who we were watching.
I don't remember even that background, Casey. I remember you showing like a weird one and doing all the narration about
So Kane is
getting
referring
so close, waiting for thousands of years, and
to. Kyrian is referring to 2 sessions ago. The one
Okay.
you're referring to is from last session, and that's this one.
yeah.
Was that 2 sessions ago? My bad.
Yep, it's 2 sessions.
Basically, Kane just explains that Kane way all of Casey's narrating stuff from last session. Then
Yeah, you guys saw things. I also kind of recapped it in the intro.
so like, are we in the right? Like, is this just the same place now, or like we're not dead, right? They said we might die once we beat them.
I mean, maybe. What are we trying to get to?
I'm just role playing.
We're trying to reach understanding, and then I will abandon you for my mother.
Basically, what happened after? Like, that's weird. We weren't even on the same plane, and now we're here. Was it you, Ennis? Kane kind of looks up.
Points at the camera. Was it you?
You, Ennis?
You know what? Make a charisma check, Kane.
Woo! Charisma. Oh, I gotta open my character sheet. Hold on.
Make it a good one. I want to see what Casey's contemplating here.
Charisma.
Nat 20. Come on.
Okay.
That's close.
You shout at the sky.
Damn it, Casey. I needed that 20.
You needed better than a 19.
Damn it. Well, she's not. Are the gods dead? Well, shit. Okay. Y'all seem just as confused as me. So I'm gonna go. Kane goes to the temple. It's in the city, right?
Okay.
I didn't misunderstand.
Yeah. So you pack up and head towards the temple.
I take the wine.
Okay, so you all watch as a look of resolve settles over Kane's face. He very briefly just says something along the lines of, "Well, I'm out," takes the bottle of wine, and leaves. And Fallon and Clean, the two of you, are left at the table, along with Gamork.
Colleen has a sending stone. She can contact me if needs be. If she wants to.
Did you open your letter yet?
Yeah, I know where to go.
I read the entire thing.
Okay, I'm opening my letter.
Okay.
Yeah, Red Rave. Sorry, I don't know why.
No worries. So yeah, you open your letter, and it says inside, "Hello, Fallon. This is Nistia Cantaniel. It's been some time since we met underground, but I heard you're back in Tindus now, and that your errand seems to have been successful. I can't tell you how happy I am to hear that. I'm writing because I'm given to understand that all the vestiges of Alkadir have passed into your hands. I was hoping you might be willing to bring them to the Temple of Innis, where we can speak about how to handle them. I imagine you may want to know about Anya. As I think she told you, the two of us went on an errand to the wilderness south of Emmeline to tend to a final pocket of the cultists of Sheena who'd based themselves there. We managed to free a few people they'd captured, so Anya stayed behind to make sure things were settled with their families before returning to Tindus. She should be back any day, but I haven't heard from her yet. Anyway, I hope you'll be willing to come by the temple. Fair warning, Antiniel, the old priestess who sent us on that errand underground, is going to be there too. I know she was a little heavy-handed when we first met, but I trust her, and I hope that won't dissuade you."
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll stroll in wearing every bit of.
Carl becomes the
Oh, you mean my stuff? You want my stuff?
my stuff.
I'll just
Gross.
activate this crown of allure real quick, and we can finish this conversation all
Didn't
nice
we
and happy.
put them all in an armory that we
That's
don't
what
have
I-
access to?
That's what I was actually going to ask.
You do
but-
remember doing that. And you
Um,
haven't specifically checked your bag for this, to my memory.
Yeah, I haven't. Would I have felt them when I was digging around for that time, Jim?
You know what? That's a fair point. Yes, you would have. In fact, you even felt the cloak there, which you were pretty sure you'd given to Colleen.
Ooh, I like how this is working out for me.
No.
Yeah.
You share.
Yes. Mr. Creation Stones. I don't want to hear it. We
Hey, you
gave.
can't have my creation stones.
We gave. I know. I don't want them. You can have
We
them.
don't even know where they are.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Actually, let me clarify this one too. I forgot to narrate this bit, but you made that amulet for them. You're actually wearing that.
Okay, I have no problems with Fallon having what he wants then.
You've got those. I've got my stuff. Kane has the dragon ring.
This is how Fallon becomes a bad guy for this campaign.
It could be.
Only
Yeah.
all the evil artifacts. Definitely not.
So what's
Bad
funny
guy
is
making.
at the end of the session tonight, Casey's going to reveal the title card, crystal, the crystal tomb, and so this has just been the prologue.
Well, actually, what's going to happen is you guys are going to be the antagonists for the next campaign that I run, because you're controlling
no.
all the power in the multiverse. No, okay. Anyways,
Colleen would be a beautiful antagonist.
I think it's just chaos.
Yeah, just a happy-go-lucky. Whoops, you're fucked. Sorry, but good luck.
Somebody's going to try to cast your 9th level automatic
Disintegrate.
wizard killing spell.
Disintegrate.
Oh well, too bad. He's in a
Colleen would be
hamster
like
ball.
an anti-villain. Like, she means well with everything she does.
Suddenly, all your ice knives crit.
Yeah.
All right. So you remember that, Fallon.
Okay,
So
cool.
maybe you do have them all.
Yeah, and I don't mention the cloak at all.
Of course. So, okay, wait a minute. Are you still at the table having breakfast with Colleen, or
Yes.
okay, continue.
I read it and I say, it's from that Nistia lady, who's now a lady still.
Nisia?
Chilling at the Tower of or lounging at the Tower of Venice.
Actually, Fallon, give me another int check. Okay, that's actually all you needed. So some things about this letter don't make sense, actually. So you knew Nistia as the High
Yeah.
Priestess of Innis. You only met her at the tower, way at the south of Anangrun. She did not travel underground with you, at least not originally. Not what she seems to be referring to. You did meet her underground in one of the timelines where she was stuck in the
Yeah.
village with the fish people.
And she was worshiping Blinploop, right?
Right. So, and then there was like another timeline where she wasn't the high priestess. So like something's going on weird, but you don't maybe aren't quite sure whether when she talks about meeting underground, she means the time with the fish people, but it kind of doesn't make sense because she also refers to Antiniel sending her on the errand underground, and that's like way back, like way when you first met Kane and Colleen and you got sent on that very first trip. So there's a lot that doesn't make sense here.
Is Colleen's mother still in the room?
She went to a different room, but she's still in the house.
Okay. Colleen, when you go talk to your mother, would you please ask her if she has memories of things changing from how they used to be?
Can you clarify that?
Well, you know how like the time would change and we'd be the only ones to remember.
Yes.
Well, why don't you see if we're not the only ones anymore?
Okay. Yeah, I can see what I can find out.
I'm gonna continue eating pancakes.
Okay, Kane, you had something?
In my letter, did it mention my child
It did not.
at all? Okay, Kate notices this is very upset. Or is very like worried as he approaches his temple.
All right. So Colleen, I'm imagining that Tengu KPP is probably just chilling with the remainder of his pancakes at the moment.
PP.
Are you doing anything other than just like chatting and eating?
Yeah, I guess once we're wrapped up with that, I'll go find my mother.
Okay. I'll make sure when he comes back that there wasn't anything else that we skipped over, but let's jump ahead to that now. So yeah, you get up from the table, maybe put your dishes over by the sink and wander into the sitting room. Actually, kind of a sunroom. It's got some large open windows near the ceiling, and sunlight is streaming down in. And you find your mother sitting on one of the couches. Actually, do this real quick. Give me a medicine check.
Your mama's got Alzheimer's.
Whoa. That's serious.
I was trying to think of an old person disease.
An elf with Alzheimer's.
So, oh yeah, okay. Hey, Fowlin, was there any other
Yes.
particular conversation with Colleen before we move on to Colleen and her mom?
Tango
Uh,
pancake.
What do we do next, Colleen?
Well, I think the most pressing thing is to figure out where we are. I mean, obviously, other than here in Tindos, but I really need to figure out where Dwillig is, or at the very least, where his body is.
Right. Also, get your mother to talk more about that demon army thing Apparently that did happen, but everything seems fine.
Right, I'll be sure to ask her how she survived the traumatic experience of a demon invasion and the
Because
like.
didn't they overrun Tindos or something? I thought that did
No.
happen.
So actually, you do know about this. They were going that direction, and this is when Tirsa yoinked or borrowed, shall we say, the Scepter of Command from y'all because she gave you a trick bag of holding, basically, and did
Yeah.
something that actually made them like turn on each other and stymied the attack.
Oh, cool.
Ah, neat.
Cool.
Well,
See, guys, thievery can be good.
I'll be sure to get the blanks filled in, I suppose.
All right, off you go. Pancake, pancake, pancake.
Okay, so
Clean up after yourself.
So fast forwarding back to where we were, Colleen, you go into the sitting room. You notice actually, your mother. You knew that she was chronically weak because of a lot the fallout of a lot of the magical experimentation she was doing. She had health issues, um, magical health issues, but health issues nonetheless. You notice that she looks as good as you've ever seen her. Like she doesn't. It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with her at all. Which normally she at least looked like a little weak. So
So, Mother, you wanted to speak to me?
yes. Take a seat, Clean. So first of all, before I get into that, I just have to tell you how nice it is to see you back again. I know I'm not really the maternal sort, but I was really worried about you. Um, anyway, I last night I couldn't help but notice the stones set in that necklace you're wearing. I wanted to talk to you about that. So while we were sleeping, while you were sleeping, and I do mean sleep, I've never seen you passed out cold like that. I went to talk to Master Hadalon at the university, and this would be in Kasian. Um, he helped confirm my suspicions and directed me to a priest of Karulu by the name of Kawin Serendon. We talked to him, and he seems to know what should be done with those, or at least have some idea about it. Not looking to coerce you into anything, of course, but I wanted to ask if you would go with me to meet him.
Certainly, Mother, I will go with you to meet, but I believe that the stones rightly belong to myself, or at least one of them.
Let me be clear, no one's taking anything from you, Colleen, but when we met with him, well, he seemed to show that there was something that could be done, and I'd just ask you to hear him out, that's all.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, my head's a little foggy. Can you recall the events of the last 6 months for me? Um, as you experienced them?
Oh, sure. I
Yes.
I imagine you mean as regards you and your companions and not just in general, right?
Well, I mean, I don't suppose you know everything that we've done, but I would like to know, how you've experienced the world during this time. I just need to understand.
She nods. Yeah, it's totally fine, Clean. Let me think. So you first came by here about 6 months ago. I didn't quite understand the entire story, but I know that you and your companions went on some uh, journey underground to retrieve an elven girl who'd apparently been taken there. That you discovered, I believe you said, Quaggoths down there. At any rate, and also, I believe that was the first that we knew about this demon army that we finally succeeded in dealing with. Anyways, yeah, so it was around that time that you came here. I think you and your companions were cagey about the details for understandable reasons, but I believe you came to Tindos seeking something. I'm not sure what, but that you left here seeking more of the same. In the meantime, while you were gone... Oh, no, and also you had just that yellow stone from your amulet, I'm fairly certain. She looks at it closely for a moment. Anyways, I have to say, Colleen, for all the failures of my research, examining that was the closest I felt like I'd ever got, to be honest. Anyways, you all left. The demon army became a bit of a problem in the meantime, but we finally succeeded in pushing them back, both from their base of operations in Jordine and also in the Skrit Forest. You all had left on some sort of errand.
They ever make it to Tindos?
Who?
The demon army.
They threatened to invade, but they seemed to turn on themselves at the last minute.
Right. I just wanted to make sure that seems to line up with everything. I'm glad you're safe through all that.
She nods. Indeed, your father was hard at work, keeping things together the best we could, to be honest. I'm afraid I wasn't of so much help.
Well, since we're on the subject, how's your work been going?
She shrugs. To be honest, I was speaking about Minkasian with it briefly, in the wee hours of the morning. We're thinking that we might need to be giving up on the research into alternate magics. We don't think we're likely to improve the standard model.
More alternate than creation magic?
No, that's exactly what I'm referring to. I know it's been a bit of a dream, but it's been one failure after another. Like I said, playing with that stone of yours was the closest I ever felt like I got, but I don't think it'd be right of me to impose on you for that. Especially not after what the priest Kawin told me earlier, so...
Well, I'm certainly... Well, I can't say that I'm not willing because I do want to explore all possibilities, but I think we have some possibilities, and I found a way to this other world, and I really want to figure out how to get back. And I think it could have something to do with that magic.
Her eyes get just a little bit wide, and then she sort of purses her lips. She says, as crazy as that would sound to most, I don't think I doubt you, Colleen. But I think you should hear out the priest first.
Well, it can't hurt. You, father, and I suppose your connections would be the leaders of the field, I suppose. No one knows better than you, so when do we meet them?
Says, well, you might, but at this point. But yeah, we can head over any time. Just let me know as soon as you're ready.
Would you like the others to come, or is it a mother-daughter kind of thing?
Says, Up to you. In fact, I was going to ask you if you wanted to go in alone. Or if you wanted me to come with you. But I figured I'd at least walk you over.
Oh, well, you should certainly come with. I was just, well, Kane and Fallon haven't been the most supportive of my alternative magic.
She sort of cocks her head at that. Are you saying you actually did something with those?
Well, yes, I was on the verge of it last time we were here, but I really think I understand how it works, and I need to find that connection again, a way to connect with that again.
You see her... Well, actually, if you would like, you can give me insight.
I don't make insight checks unless it's Kane.
Okay.
I won't do it.
What?
Okay, she pauses for a long moment and then finally says, perhaps while we walk, you can tell me more about it.
Sure. Shall we get going then?
She nods and says, by all means. Okay, so at this point, the vibe I'm getting is that everyone's sort of heading off in their own direction. Is anyone opposed to that? Or
I'm
does anyone
still
want to
eating
do something else?
pancakes.
Well, yes, of course. But, once you finish your pancakes. Actually, I guess you haven't definitively said whether you're responding to the letter or not.
Well, Colleen was getting dragged off. Was
Oh,
Kane
yeah, wait,
going?
that's right. You asked her to ask about something. So, Colleen, you leave the conversation with your mother and go back to where Fallon is eating pancakes.
I suppose I should fill him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hop back over there.
All right. You find Fallon with like a third of a pancake left on his plate, looking at the ones that are still left on the platter and trying to decide.
Well, Fallon, most of it seems to line up so far, but I have to say there's a little bit more I need to figure out because some things are definitely off.
Like what?
Well, you met my mother. She's not usually so healthy. She's had some trouble in the past, and she certainly was never one who was much willing to cook, so she didn't go on about anything that changed in the interim, so I can only imagine there's some greater difference here. I need to figure out what that is.
Right. Yeah, my letter has weird stuff in it too. So, what does she want you to do?
Well, we're going to meet a priest of all things, to discuss some of our magical ability. I'm sure you're aware the creation magic and possibly even the cube that we left here last time.
Is that Halal's dad or uncle or brother?
That's an interesting question.
Well, my letter wants me to go to the Tower of Venice all of a sudden.
If you steal Anya from me, I'll be furious. The original timeline Anya is mine.
We have to go back. We have to go back.
Fallon says, I'll let you keep believing that, but yeah, no.
So are you off then, or would you like company?
Sure. I don't mind. But do you need to go with your mother first, or what?
Well, yes, I suppose it's probably best to take care of the Tindos things while we're here. But I would love to go to the
Oh,
Temple of Innis. And
clarification. By Temple of Innis, I mean the one in Tindos. There
okay,
is one in Tindos.
Oh,
makes it
okay.
easier.
Yeah,
It's,
The letterer
That
would
is-
have tried to make this clear, so.
It's
okay,
like
sorry.
I gotta go to the cathedral, so I have to go to the Wooded Robe.
Well,
Jeez.
yes, Fallon, I would love
I'm sorry,
to go
World
with you.
Traveler Kane. You mean there's one of these in every city?
Holy shit!
You can come with us to the priest if you'd like. Just mm, just please don't say anything out of line.
Fallon gets up from the table and says, "I'll join you in whatever do you mean, Khalid?"
That's exactly what I'd expect from you.
All right. Okay. So it sounds like we've got Fallon and Colleen sticking together, and Kane going off his own direction. That about the
Well,
shape of it?
I wouldn't have, but y'all were not talking. I was like, I guess I'll just go do my thing. Then now y'all start talking.
All right. All
You
right.
missed out.
So I'm gonna start with Fallon and Colleen in that case. So, because this way we mix it up more.
Well, you
So
Kane hasn't had a moment yet, and I can use the
yeah,
drink.
I know, but then I'm gonna. Okay, if you want to go get a drink, sure.
I didn't want to double back.
I can start with Kane. That's fine if you want me to start with Kane.
Whatever is best for your storytelling method.
Okay, then fuck it. I'm starting with you guys.
Okay.
So which way are you going first? Like, are
Uh,
you doing the trip with your mom first, or are you going to the Temple of Venice first?
Mom trip.
Okay, I'll go with that. So yeah, so Colleen, you go back to the sitting room, hang in there. Fetch your mom, and mention that Fallon and Mork are going to come with. She says that's fine. And you make your way over to actually the Temple of Carulo. So on your way, you sort of talk idly about the creation stone. She sort of asks you about it. You can tell that she has researched them, but or she has researched creation magic, but you get the sense that whatever's going on with this world, like her research was not nearly as fruitful as you thought it to be.
Fallon says. Sorry. Fallon says, "Yeah, wait till the little people come out and talk to you. That's the best part."
She looks over at you, and then she looks at you, Colleen. Little people?
Well, despite his crass imagery, he's not
Fallon
wrong.
mocks being offended.
This one in the center here, this pale yellow, it's his name is Lacidel.
She stops and thinks for a moment and says, well, if you're listening, Lacidel, then hello, I'm honored.
Gosh.
And she looks at you, Colleen, and says, so they're sentient. Fascinating.
Well, yes. Well, I don't know if the stone is necessarily him, but the way that we seem to perceive it, I guess that's what keeps him bound to me, at least, and
The other
happy
two
to
are
have him.
girls.
Actually, only one of the other two is a girl.
Well, does Fallon know?
Maybe not. So I'm just going to roll with it. And she
Okay.
says, okay. Interesting.
Well, that's not the case, but I don't think I'm selling you on it, so I really, mother, we could keep walking now, that's fine.
She nods and says, fair enough. And it's
What
not too much longer before you arrive at the entrance to the temple. It's just a modest wooden building on the edge of the temple district. Although as you approach it and go inside, you realize that despite looking like a fairly simple wooden building, it's actually very elegantly crafted. And it's a bit of a greenhouse. Inside there are large gardens with many different kinds of trees, flowers, and other plants. As you walk through it, it's sort of a winding but orderly series of gardens and fountains and things like that. She walks in partway with you, past some attendants at the front who seem to recognize her. And then she says, okay, this is just a little bit further is where Priest Sarandon said he would be waiting. I forget, you would you like me to wait here or would you like me to come with you?
You can certainly come with us, Mum. Certainly this would only benefit you in your research.
She nods and says, very well. She takes you a bit further, sort of under an arch and around a corner. And you see there sort of an older, middle-aged elven man dressed in robes of deep green, wearing what looks like maybe like a pewter amulet that marks him as a priest of Carulo. Sort of vines twisted together and emblazoned with a hawk. He looks up at you and says, Glean Larea, I take it?
Yes, that's me.
Greetings, I'm Colin Sarandon. And your companion is...
Well, this is the first time he has to introduce himself, but this is Fallon.
My name's Fallon, and this is Gamork.
Fallon, Gamork. Pleasure to
Fallon
meet both
says,
of you.
"Hey, do you know somebody named Hillel?"
He gives sort of a wry grin and says, I believe you're referring to my nephew.
Did he always like to get oiled up like that?
He stops and thinks for a moment and then seems to make a decision to himself. And he says, yes, constantly.
I imagine
Constantly.
that was the case.
Yeah, funny one, that boy. But he could have turned out worse. Slippery one, though.
Slippery fast. You know what I was about to say. Slippery. Like to do a lot of kicking.
All right. Well, perhaps I shouldn't belabor it. Please take a seat if you'd like. Where to begin? I imagine you're aware, Colleen, of the nature of the stones you possess.
Well, mostly yes. I think I understand what they're capable of and what they represent, at least.
Well, you may understand more than me then. That being said, I do understand some, and, well, I may have had more revealed to me. I'll come
Real
right...
to you.
Well, as far-fetched as it might sound, a vision, Colleen. Perhaps the only true one that I've had during my time in this priesthood. Anyways,
What was the vision?
I prefer to keep the details to myself if it would be okay, but the short of it is that I believe Carulo himself spoke to me. I believe that you and your party have been through some struggle which defies my comprehension. You, him, and there was, I believe, a Genasi with you as well.
May he forever rest in peace.
What?
Yeah, Kane, you sneeze at this moment. I don't know where you're at, but you sneeze. He says, I'm sorry. At any rate, there was a specific part of this that was entrusted to me, which has to do with those items, the creation spirits, I believe. He reaches beside him and pulls what seems to be a slim leather-bound book with just some parchment in it. He says, you can read it for yourself if you like. Apparently we've had this here for quite some time, but it is some old wisdom related to those items. Apparently, during times of great need, they awaken, and during other times, it's necessary for them to remain bound. And the short of my request is that you would allow me to assist them in returning to sleep. I don't know the nature of your relationship or how that request may strike you, but that's the short of it. And if you'd like to know more, then, well, I would simply ask you to read this.
I will take what he's offering and read it.
Okay. It takes some time to get through. Give me a history check.
History.
Okay. It's poetry in an old style, and it's the sort of thing that the meaning of it could easily be lost on people who didn't have some specific knowledge that you possess. With what you possess, you're able to decode it easily enough. The first portion of it is clearly history, referring to the creation of the world, how the different gods shape different elements of the world. And it describes the spirits of creation and how they went into their first slumber. There's a second point where it speaks of invaders, attackers, devourers, and how the spirits were awoken again and how they went into their second sleep. And then it speaks of a third awakening, and there are some specific details that resonate with the experiences that you all have had. Some small little allegories or references here and there that would seem somewhat random, but that line up with specific experiences that you had. There's mention of the poisoning of the one in blue, for example.
Fuck you again.
And then it goes on to speak of the sleep that followed after that. And then in the final portion, there's a section that seems meant as some sort of warning about the danger of creation unbound, the excess that would flow from an imbalanced state of the world, the slow unraveling of the material plane and the rendering of all into spirit. And you don't know who wrote this or where it came from, but it does seem to you, and to you only, a bit oddly specific. And it seems to be suggesting that the creation spirits do, in fact, need to sleep once more.
I want to study the last part about the needing to sleep, or the ensuing chaos.
Sure, sure. Arcana. Okay. You piece together little things here and there. You combine it with what you remember from the times when your mother described creation magic to you. You combine it with your own experience of it and your experiences with the spirits themselves. And the general sense that you get is that the material. So there are the spiritual planes, which exist, as they are, and then there's the material plane, which involves a sort of congealing or solidifying of that spiritual essence, and there's a sort of restraint, a sort of almost draining, if you will, involved in that, the fusion of spirit with matter. You realize that, or at least the implication of the text is that creation magic represents a sort of amplification of all of that to the point of developing new spirit, new matter, refreshing things out of nothing, which normally, although there are various spells that seem to conjure things from nothing, you know that there is always sort of a price being paid somewhere, and creation magic seems to be the one way around that. You also, as far as you can piece together, the claim of this text seems to be that the creation spirits being awakened is almost like a tap being forcibly opened, and that eventually the world would sort of fill up, so to speak. And at that point, that sort of draining that's necessary to maintain a material plane, I see you, would sort of come undone and everything would be rendered into spirit.
Interesting. Totally lost my train of thought of what I was going to do next. I had a plan.
Yeah, and when I say spirit, thinking about it a little bit more, sort of the implication is actually not necessarily the outer planes, but more so that the material plane would sort of bleed over into the astral plane, the realm of pure idea.
Like the movie Inside Out.
Good
Exactly.
movie. Sad movie. So, Mr. Sarandon, you're proposing that these creation magics need to be put away. Is that right?
He nods and says, "That is what I'm saying. I would..." He shrugs. "To be honest, I don't have any proposal as to what to do with the items themselves. You could keep them, as far as I'm concerned, but the spirits inside, I think, would need to be, well, you read it."
I'll gently touch the pen and say, Lassiter, I don't know if you can hear me, but can you make any sense of this? Do you know what it's referencing? If this is true? I'm just gonna focus on that for a minute while we ponder.
Yeah, you focus on it. At a certain point, you even sort of close your eyes and you sort of sense yourself drifting. You're not aware of going anywhere else or seeing any different physical space. You only know that one moment you're reaching out and the next you're speaking with the three spirits themselves. And Lassadel speaks back to you. "We only eavesdrop so much, Colleen. Can you give a quick summary?"
So basically, you're cold to the world in times of great need, but you bring such an excess of magic that it can ultimately cause a greater harm to the world if you don't go back to sleep. Does that sound about right?
Cenarian sort of looks in confusion towards the other two. Kirill sort of gets sort of a grim look on her face, and Lacidel finally says, "Well, we were all sleeping when you found us, right? I honestly, I don't think anyone's ever explained it to us. I just know that we awake for a time and then we sleep for a time, and
Well,
the space in
so
between."
then explain creation magic to me. What is that resource? Where does this what's the price of this?
Price, sort of all look at each other again for a moment, and then finally, Kirill looks at you with a determined look on her face, and she says, "It's what we are, Colleen. It doesn't come from anywhere. We don't pay anything for it. That is what we are."
Do you think that could be a danger to the regular populace, or do you think maybe I mean, we've learned with creation magic that magic, though, you know, there's nothing specific I need to do on this side. There are connections that we don't understand, and I just want to know if you have something else to that process, or
Kirill starts to say something and then goes quiet. Finally, Lacidel says, "I think my sister might prefer to stay awake, but thinking about it, it is possible. There are times when, well, there are times when I can't help myself, if that makes sense."
well, I want you to stay awake, and I want you to stay with me, and if we're gonna find a way to make that happen, we need to be able to protect those people, and you are boundless magic, but I believe there is a space. We've certainly seen that all things are possible, and we do have the avenue of creation. So please just tell me what we need to do. Uh, I
Um,
mean,
Kirill says, "I'm not aware of anything, to be honest, but I don't know that that means we have to." And then Lacidel at this point interrupts and says, "Look, Colleen, we trust you. We are what we are. I don't know how to change that. I've never really reflected about it. But follow your heart."
well, I do have an idea, and if I have your blessing, well, that's the best I can ask for. Everything else is just a hope.
They all pause for a moment once again. Finally, in sort of a placid voice, Cenarian says, "I think it's probably a bad idea, but I won't stand in the way." Um, Kirill says, "Screw it, I don't care. Give it a shot." And Lacidel says, "You do you, Colleen."
Well, we learn more from bad ideas than we do from good ones, and I say that fits us very well. um,
Cenarian seems worried. Kirill gets sort of a smile on her face, and Lacidel has a look of. He actually has an oddly sad look on his face, but um, not sure what to make of that.
One thing, um, you'll stay if I can, right?
They look at each other one more time, and finally Lacidol turns back and says, well, we're not trying to go anywhere.
Perfect then. With that, I will leave them.
All right. You open your eyes again. Fallon is waving his hand up and down in front of your face.
Did you see my messages, Casey?
Let me see here.
Hold on, pause time of the game. I want to see if I can get a ruling here.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
So I'm actually talking to your mother, and I'm like, and then I broke the last seal, and we accidentally freed this really bad, evil man from a long time ago. And you're not going to believe this, right, Colleen? But this one,
Are
right
you talking
here.
about Dom?
Yeah. Anyways, she totally. I'm waiting for you to stop me at any moment. By the way.
No, please keep going.
She
I love
totally.
Dom. Tell my mother all about Dom.
She went head over heels for him. This one,
She
craziest
wanted
thing.
Jordan.
Pure evil, worst person ever, worse than Cain. And you know what? You're just
Fallon.
You're just the standard on which I grade everybody. It's like when I play 20 questions with my kids and I say we talk about is the animal bigger or smaller than our dog? He's just the level, it's just the point at which I grade.
Tom,
Cade says, well, Colleen does always seem to see the best in everyone, no matter how ill-advised.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that can be taken too far.
come on, Fallon. Dom was a victim of circumstance. He never did anything to hurt us.
What about that baby he killed?
I give you a blank stare as if that faces me.
What do you
I
mean,
guess
as
not
if
a
that
blank
phases you?
stare,
Like
but
Colleen wouldn't
like
Colleen's cool with dead babies? Is that what you're trying to say?
like it's too far gone for me to fix, but the fact that something died doesn't, he justified his case to me in the conversations we had, so it doesn't.
Pillow talk. He justified it with pillow talk.
Yeah, I'm all about pillow talk.
All right. Well, I just wanted you to come to hear me explaining to your mother about your
No, I love it.
romance with this.
Go on.
So, what did you guys talk about in there?
Oh well, the usual. Global calamity. All the regular things that usually come with what we do these days, I suppose. But I think I have an idea. So, well, I'm curious what else we have to learn before we do anything reckless. More reckless, I should say.
With that, Colin looks at you and says, so what is the meaning of your words?
Well, first, I want to hear your plan. What does it involve to put them to sleep, and what goal does that accomplish exactly?
He says the goal is simply to prevent boundless magic from undoing the world, well, frankly. As dramatic as that might sound, the method is actually rather simple. Actually, the most basic of rituals, although it does take some time.
And what does it involve to put these to sleep? Like, again, there's always a price. So, what's involved in putting boundless magic to sleep?
I'm no expert on this, mind you. I've only been reading through a number of our scrolls in the temple since yesterday, and seeing things in a new light. That being said, if I understand it correctly, it's not really a new magic, it's just the invocation of an old one. Some sort of foundational magic of the world set up by the gods themselves. But we must be their hands in this.
I suppose that makes sense, but what if there was another way? Old magic. I mean, there's so much we could change, or, it doesn't have to be that way, I suppose, or it seems rather rudimentary.
He shrugs and says, "The creation stones pass to you and not to me. I am not here to force you to do anything, Colleen, merely to advise as best I can."
I appreciate your advice, and certainly you're the expert as far as history is concerned. Um, but what if we had another way, another space?
He says, "Then that would be your decision, Colleen."
Well, right now I'm of that mind, so I just need a proper push. Look at Fallon.
Can you explain to me what you just said?
um, well, Mr. Sarandon here says we should put the spirit stones of the creation stones to sleep because that is how it was done in past times and has been prophesized and recanted. Everything seems to follow that flow, but to put boundless magic to sleep seems rather wasteful, especially the ones that we know as we do. And I believe through my experience that I could find some way to put it all to use without just turning it off and waiting for the next catastrophe.
Okay, I mean, I guess it's probably no rush anyway, right?
As far as I understand, I don't believe there's a rush. I believe it's going to be more experimentation, but certainly the world's not going to end tomorrow unless I horribly mess up, which is a possibility.
Fallon does nod at that as a possibility. Well, Fallon flashes his wooden wish ring, spins it around to where the last diamond is showing, and says, "Well, I mean, we've got one do-over, maybe."
Actually, wait, let me see here.
I was hoping for an interaction.
Yeah. Colin looks at it. His insight. Fallon, specifically. Insight.
Oh, you want me to do insight?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were like
I
pausing
don't
in the
do
middle
that.
of your sentence.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. You see the exact moment when he recognizes what you have and his eyes go just a little bit wide, and then he sort of smiles and sort of very, very slightly shakes his head, and says, "If that's what I think it is, then as far as the power of Karula reaches, yes, one do-over."
Well, thanks for the reassurance.
Yeah, Fallon looks to him and says, "You know, I saved Innes's life with this."
He looks at you and says, "I've seen enough in the last day to believe you."
Fallon says, "There was this crazy rainbow wall and this monster with all these tentacles. It's horrible."
He looks at you, Colleen, This one must be great at bars. You know, story time.
Great at bars. I said great at arms. I was like, what about
Oh,
Violet's
yeah.
arms?
No, like the Nintendo game. Anyways.
Yeah. um. Well, it's never a dull moment, and always comes through for me in the end.
He nods and says, well, I will be here if you should change your mind, but you're certainly under no pressure now.
So, Fallon, what should we do?
Thank God. Oh, let's keep trucking. I mean, let's keep. Let's keep. Let's keep that on the shelf in case we need it, and be on our way. I guess.
That
Right.
Cave speaks up and says, I can see them out in that case. Thank you, Priest Sarandon. He nods and says, wish you well.
I kind of fidget with the pendant. We should go see Anya, and well, we should write everything that we can, just in case, because I'm still not sure if this is where we're meant. I do need to find Dwilig, certainly, before I take on this kind of undertaking.
Cave sort of like falteringly says, right. Priest Sergeant, I can show them out. Thank you very much. And she, stop me if I'm going too fast, but she leads you out of the temple. As she does, she says to you, Colleen, so it sounds like you might have wanted to do some amount of research. It sounds like your friend Fallon, or it sounds like you, Fallon, have an errand in mind as well. But after that, if you would like to come by the university, then Professor Hadalon and I can certainly lend you what we have at hand. I mean, I don't think there are any experts in the world for what we're talking about, but the two of us might be the closest.
Certainly, Mother. I'll definitely be back when we're ready, but we would like to get some things in order since we finally have some time to do so.
She
And
nods.
I'm sure Fallon feels the same.
Damn it! I had something to say. I forgot what I was gonna say.
No worries. Chime in if you remember it. She says, all right, very well then. Well, I'll tell you what. I think I will go ahead and head to the university and check back in with Minkasian. I'll either be there or at the house if you need anything.
Thanks, Mother.
She nods and says, good luck, and turns and walks down a street to your left. And with that, I'm going to jump over to Kane. All right, so Kane.
I'm gonna go get a drink.
Yep. So Kane, some time ago, you left a certain breakfast table and took off for the what's it effing called? Temple of Karulo.
That's Rope Buddy's place.
No, I'm sorry, I said Karulo. I meant Miros. So this is also, Tindos has a dedicated temple district. The Temple of Miros is there. It again sort of clashes with the buildings around it. Its surface gleams with polished silver. There's a dazzling variety of artwork etched in red across the front. As you walk in,
Is this the whole one?
yeah, it is.
Where what's his name tried to rail Thule.
Yes, that is correct.
Yo,
And you as you go in, the lighting is much lower. The stone of the building blocks out most of the light from the outside. It's lit with low lanterns and things of that nature. The entry hall is short. There's lush purple carpet that terminates at a polished black stone desk, and a bored-looking attendant sits behind the desk. A bored-looking, ashen-skinned fire genasi who is known to you sits behind the
oh,
desk,
another one.
sort of fidgeting idly with something that you can't quite see from your angle. She doesn't mind you much as you approach.
Hello.
Oh, Kane, welcome back. I guess you got my letter?
Yes.
It's good to see you again after all this time.
Where were you a week ago? I had to make sure we're on the right time thing.
Okay. She looks at you a little confused. A week ago, well, that would be about when I split off from Tirsa, actually. I'd been, well, doing a number of things with her, but she said I could come back to the temple, so I did that. I think last place we were before that was Jardine.
So between Jardine and now, we haven't seen each other.
No, I mean, we've been messaging each other a lot. You gave me that stone after all. I'm sure you remember that. Sounds like you had quite the adventure. I mean, you must be one of the. You could probably count on one hand the number of people other than your party who made it. Uh, Maybe there aren't any who left Einangrun and came back. But yeah, no. I mean, actually, it's. She looks up at you and sort of seems to have recovered herself. It's really nice to see you again.
He's just kind of like trying not to show up. But he's like, "Gosh darn it!" We're like got back like 5 paces. Well, okay, so that's changed then. Right.
She gives you sort of a confused look. She
Wait,
says,
did Tirsa go to leave Anangrid and come back, or no?
I can get someone else to mind the desk. Would you like to go talk somewhere else? You can go back to my room.
Purple.
Okay.
No, the desk is fine. Actually, I have to go see. Read the thing again. Someone Redgrave.
Oh, yes, Cypriel, I can take you to her if you like.
Yes.
Okay. Well, come along with me then. She gets up from the desk. There's sort of a pair of doors behind the desk that split off down into hallways. She takes you down the one to the left. You walk to the end of that and then go all the way towards the back of the building. The room that she brings you up towards is like fairly heavy with some kind of incense. It's not quite overwhelming, but it's definitely, some would argue, overdone. She knocks on the door and says, Kane, and then she looks at you actually and says, what is your last name actually?
Casey, what's the last name? Was I given one? Besides
So yeah, your real last name, so to speak, is I believe Nightvale, or no? What was?
Nightvale?
No. Hold on a sec. What was your mom's name? It was Tristana Evenglade. Evenglade.
Evenglade.
Yeah.
Evenglade.
Kane Evenglade is here. And you hear a voice. So that's his last name. Yeah, send him in.
Wait till
um,
they figure out this is my real first name.
and Tilly opens the door and says, I guess I'll be at the desk waiting.
Yeah, I'll be there in like 10 minutes.
She nods and says, all right. And as she's going away, she like sort of sneaks up beside you, like kisses you on the cheek really quickly, and then walks away.
And now it's purple again.
Yep. So you are purple as you walk into the door. You see a few people there. The first one, I do not remember the description of the priest who ran this joint from last time. So,
Woo! Neither do I.
so I'm just gonna say that he's actually, I think he was actually a human. So he's just, it's a man fairly like luxuriously dressed who um has an odd sort of air about him. Like the initial air that he gives off is playboy, but there's a certain seriousness to the way that he holds himself.
Here we go. Let's continue.
Yeah. So the other person there is a red-haired, elegantly dressed woman. She's got sort of a white dress that drapes down around her, a fair amount of gold jewelry. She is middle-aged, but like some would call her a MILF. Yeah, and she looks at you and says, Kane, it's a pleasure to have you here. Please. And then before she can get another word out of her mouth, you notice your ring sort of activate, so to speak. It starts glowing. And
I covered
Kalea.
up.
Hmm?
I covered up. This is my bad.
Yeah, you cover it, but the half dragon, half demon, half good-looking woman, Kalea.
That's 3 halves. That's one verse.
Yeah, I know that's Miros logic for you. Um, appears. So Kalea appears and says, "Hello, Sibriel. It's been some time since we saw each other." And she sort of, struts over to stand between you. And
Kill
Sibriel,
each other.
Sibriel breaks into a slight smile and says, "It's been some time, hasn't it?" "Yes, it has." The two of them sort of look at each other for a long moment and then simultaneously turn their eyes to look at you.
K's and cover.
And Sibriel says, Kane, perhaps I should get straight to the reason that I asked you to come here. So I am a
I'm confused. I got the names mixed up. Go ahead, continue.
Yes. I'll explain everything shortly. So I am a priestess of Miros from the temple in Dale's Harbor, and we have for some time tended the chromatic ring, the object meant to gather the dragon spirits. I am not sure if you've tasted their power, but obviously it's the sort of thing to be safeguarded.
Wait,
And
tasted the power. What do you mean? Tasted the power. They were stored here.
Kalea looks over at you and says, "Look, I was light on the details, but like you have all the spirits now and the ring can do things."
I could have done stuff. I died like twice.
She says, "Look, it's complicated. There's a reason I didn't tell you."
Kate frowns.
"You also didn't ask."
I thought you would just tell me everything up front when I asked the first time.
"No, that's not my job."
I just take whatever I do with the camera is like.
Oh yeah, no. And she's just like gesticulating back at you, sort of mock confusion, basically.
So just the priestess is watching us both go.
Yeah, basically.
at each other. Great.
So,
King is it first, of course. He's like, well, fine, okay. We're
so
stuck at the priest. So what do you want?
well, the short of it is, and I can try to justify it for you better if you like, but I'm asking for the ring so that we
Nope.
can. Okay. So I guess I need to justify my request then. And she looks
Sure.
over at Kalea, and Kalea says, "Yeah, I think you need to." Okay. Um.
She said like you're gonna need to justify it.
Right. Right. Okay. So you've recovered all the dragon spirits, and that poses a bit of a problem, given that my understanding is, and I don't understand the details, gods, visions, things like that. But I think the purpose for which you gathered them is now accomplished. And that ring is only going to gradually amplify in power over time, rather dangerously, so to speak. Kalea here is able to keep things under control to some extent, but Kalea says, "Look, I've got certain." Oh, and actually, I just realized that the music stopped. Let me restart that.
King raises his hand.
What's up?
How long?
How long do you have before it goes out of control, do you mean?
Yep.
Well, that depends. Uh, and at this, Kalea sort of trails off, and Sibriel speaks up and says, "It depends on the level of kink that you're willing to get into with Kalea here."
What?
She says, "Look, Kane, I get my power in interesting ways. I have certain desires, and with all these spirits growing out of control, well, stewarding them does take a little extra."
Insight check?
Yeah, sure, roll insight.
Love how intimidated you are.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm in double digits.
She seems pretty serious about this, and you know that she's into a lot of things. Like, she's only insinuated so far, but
Wait. So if I like actually want access to power, like it can't just be like, grant me the power.
she
Can't just
thinks,
use it.
I mean, you can do that for a little while. You might burn your finger off at a certain point.
Why? What? How do I not run a figure off?
I help you keep it under control.
And that involves the
Look, Kane, we all get our energy from somewhere. Some people get it from the magical weave. Some people get it from innate ability. Some people get it from the magic of song. I happen to get it to be something of a sex vampire.
Kate takes the ring off and gives it to the lady.
She nods and says,
It was great. He goes the ring. It was great. I had lots of fun, but just gotta call it sex vampire.
you hand the ring over to Sibriel. She smiles. She looks over at Kalea and smiles a little bit longer than you're comfortable with. Kalea smiles back, gives a small bow, and sort of slowly
I
fades.
wave goodbye.
It's been a pleasure, Kane. Shame it wasn't more.
Okay.
Sibriel says, "Well, really that's it. I suppose I kind of owe you for handing it over to me so easily." She looks over at the priest next to her. "Can we get him some gems or something?" He says, "Sure, we can do that." "All right, cool.
Woo!
I'm sure
Gems.
it'll make him feel better after he had to hand that over." He nods and says, yeah, I'll see
Yeah.
what we got.
Anything magical? Like make me invisible or something, or like harder to use spells on.
He looks down and says, he looks over at Sibriel and says, is it really that amazing what he just gave back to you? And she says, it's really that amazing.
It's got a bunch of dragons in it.
And he says, all right, fine. I guess I got 2 of these. He says, do you want like an invisibility ring or something?
What's the other one?
I have 2 of them. I'm offering you 1.
Oh, well, does it require attunement?
Let me double check. I think so.
And kind of giving a bit. Is it invisibility or greater invisibility?
Okay. It does require attunement. It is let me see here. It is an action to use it, but you can use it like an unlimited number of times.
And is it invisibility or greater?
No, it's normal invisibility.
Well, any other magical rings, or is that choice?
He's really driving a hard bargain. Do I have to entertain this? She says, entertain him. Do you have anything else? He says, fuck, I think I got a ring of Ginny summoning stuck away somewhere.
Wait, can I have anything to do with that?
What is a Jenny?
Or a genie.
Somebody named Jenny. He just
No, like, I pronounced it weird, but...
Can I summon any genie with that?
Wait, can you summon what?
Any genie? Any genie at all? Anyone I want? If I know one?
He shrugs and says, fuck, I don't know. I haven't used the thing. I had too many other attunement items.
You know what? That's a great point. I understand. Shoot, that's a hard bargain. Casey, I can't contact Papa any other way, right? He didn't give me where to contact him, did he?
I did not.
Shit. How about the genie one and the invisibility one?
Fuck no. Look,
I look at the lady.
Cyril says, do be reasonable, Kane.
But like,
I didn't even offer you anything before you handed over the ring. I'm trying to be nice to you.
Return the ring to Kane.
can I, it's just that, like, I love persuasion is balls anyway.
She looks over at the...
I was going to talk, try to get a persuasion check out of you, but it's balls.
Oh, okay.
It's +2.
I'll let you make a persuasion check if you want, actually. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. +2 for the win. No.
Yeah, no. Hell no.
All right.
Not just a no, but a hell no.
How much do you know about me, by the way?
About you? Is that what you said?
Yes.
She looks at you and she says, only what Aaron told me after he got back.
Shit. Okay. Where did he go anyway? I completely forgot where he left.
He left with me in Citadel.
He really could have used his healing.
Yeah, probably, but he's lazy as fuck. Like, the fact that he went with you as long as he did is probably the best use he's made of himself in his entire life.
I'm sensing some, like,
hostility.
Or, like...
Oh, no, not at all. I'm proud of him. But, I mean, like...
I was just going by tone, but, who might understand the tone of anyone?
I mean, look, I waste most of my potential, too.
But you're like a priestess of a temple.
Yeah, the Temple of Miros. Have you sensed the vibe around here?
I still feel like you gotta. How do you get promoted?
She looks over and says,
You know
Doing the
what?
Lord's work.
I don't want to know the answer. Actually,
she
I don't want to
says,
know.
how do we get promoted around here? He says, look, I'm below you on the totem pole. You'd be the one promoting me. Oh, yeah. Do you want to promote me? Do you want me to promote you after we're done with him? He's like, I
Oh.
thought you'd never ask.
Is this an innuendo?
And then they look back at you and said,
Kate's
and
not
Cyriel
sure.
says, do you get the idea? And then she looks back at him and says, oh, but I promised Clay, are you okay with a three-way? And he's like, yeah, sure, fine. And then it looks like,
I didn't understand what it meant. I'm sad. I'm very torn. Like, on the one hand, I could summon my papa on a whim. But invisibility!
Yeah,
Which
summon
one's
daddy
rarer?
to the orgy. That's not scarring for anyone.
No, not now. Shut up! I didn't stop doing your stuff. Which one's rarer, do you know?
They're both legendary.
To sell invisibility rings in the city. Yeah, buy the magic
I
one.
mean, I have to work to find a buyer, but probably.
And if you let them try it on, they're gone. So
Yeah,
just
can I
pulled
take it for a test drive?
Can I take them both for a test drive at the same time?
It
you
is
got to put it
attunement
on
for
to.
what it's worth, but
After then sit there for an hour and then
Right.
take them for a test drive. Kind of make sure to attune to it.
All right, Kane, I'm gonna need you to make a decision.
I feel like I can find an invisibility ring easier than a summon a genie ring, even though the handbook doesn't say that. I feel it in my gut, you know?
Okay.
Kay's gonna take the summon papa ring.
Okay. You have a ring of genie summoning.
Daddy
I'm gonna-
calling.
I'm gonna summon a fucking Alzheimer's genie. It's gonna be great.
So, so yeah, just legendary ring requires attunement. You summon a genie. Like, there's more to it than that, but that's the gist of it. It's a dungeon guide item. Okay, cool.
It's like last anyway, but
So yeah, sure. So the priest is like, all right, yeah. So I never wear that one. Want to wait here just a moment? It'll take me like 30 seconds to find it, probably.
wait, but do I see the invisibility ring?
He's got the invisibility ring on.
He has both of them on?
No, he doesn't have both of them on. He's saying that he wants to go fetch the ring of genie summoning for you because he never uses it.
Oh, but I'm assuming the second one's also there. Wherever he's going.
I just got to go to my room, dude.
I'm asking you, Casey. He didn't like hold up an invisibility ring to give me when he asked earlier.
Oh no, he was gesturing to one that he had on at that point.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind. I was gonna like fucking take the jewelry off the stand kind of move.
Right.
But it's not there.
All
I look at
right, just give me 30 seconds. I'll go fetch it. And he walks past you, leaving you alone in the room with Cypriel for a little bit.
Is Tirsa here? Do you know?
Tirsa.
Yeah.
She thinks for a moment, says, not sure who you're referring to.
Well, then you really don't do like much outside of the ring and just mirror stuff, huh?
She looks at you. I do things outside of that, but not what you're referring to.
What do you do
Gross.
outside of mirror stuff and the ring?
She says, well, there's a little place down by the river where sometimes I like to go and take money from people at cards. Sometimes I like to go on walks through the garden and just enjoy nature. You know,
I
in a
can help you
completely
with the cards
wholesome way.
I could help you with the cards thing. I'm very good at cheating at cards.
Oh, well, I don't know if there are good places for that in this town, but if you ever find yourself in Dale's Harbor, well, just swing by the temple and I'd be happy to go hit the town.
Cool.
At this moment, the other priest comes back. And he's like, all right. I had it buried beneath a pile of other rings, but I think I finally found it. Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's sort of a pale golden ring with a large sapphire set in it.
I say it loud. Now I can finally show my Alzheimer's papa.
He nods and says, I don't know what that is, but you have fun. He looks back at Sivriel and says, you want to show him out or should I?
I can show myself out.
He says, all right. Take care then.
I say, all right, and leave the room.
Yep.
X-ray eyes.
Yep.
What about eyes, Casey?
You fire up your X-ray vision.
Do I see any rings? Any rooms full of rings? With a pile of rings.
Yeah, so you make your way down the hallway a little bit, and then you do in fact see a room that must be this priest's room where there's like a haphazard collection of rings on maybe a dresser.
Do I know what a ring of invisibility looks like?
Arcana.
Come on.
No.
I shouldn't do it. I'm not gonna do it. Cade's learned.
Wasn't he wearing it anyway?
No.
No, I'm wearing this Papa Somebody one. I was thinking if I could swipe for the invisibility one too. Say what give me both. Alright, Cade leaves.
Okay.
So your girlfriend works at the temple where they're totally cool with all the crazy sex stuff.
Yes.
And you had a crazy sex dragon spirit lady.
I didn't realize exactly
you
how crazy
gave it away. You just gave it away.
You know, when someone says they're a sex vampire, I gotta just call it quits.
Yeah.
You're the only one of us who has a child.
So
you know what? I found it out later. I didn't. I've been playing this character a certain way the whole time. Gosh darn it, I'm gonna stick to it.
You make your way back to the front of the temple, and Tulia looks over her shoulder at you as you make your way out and says, so, how'd it go?
Alright, I got a ring to summon genies.
Oh, sweet. Who gave you that?
The guy that's like kind of grumpy guy.
Grumpy.
I think he's about to get promoted.
Oh, no, him. He's just like kind of out of it. He's the high priest around here.
He has a bunch of rings, magical rings, but I think he's going to get promoted. I kind of want to leave the temple before that happens.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking lunch. I know
Sure.
a nice little place. Want to go? All right. Yeah, well, you already said sure. All right.
Yeah, we can do lunch. So what was our last conversation about then? Just out of curiosity. Not that I've forgotten.
Our last conversation?
Yes.
Oh gosh, let me think. Because actually, let me think. I need to reconstruct a timeline here real quick. Because the last.
Haha, Casey.
Yeah,
I invested you.
Right. Because I'm trying to think when the. Oh, okay. That's when it was. She says, so last time was when we met way up at Eriju Glacier. I guess you were collecting vestiges and.
Glacier, you left Idongard with us?
No. So let me show you what I'm referring to.
Oh no, don't. Wait, we met at that glacier?
Yeah, remember Tirsa had like a hideout up here? and that's where you got the Cape of Delusion. And Thule was with Tirsa at that time.
Cape of Delusion.
Yep, the deceit cloak that can make illusions. Yeah.
So I was supposed to grab it.
Colleen got it off of a guy because even though he didn't look like he was wearing it, she believed that he was wearing it, so she was able to take it off.
So, wait, that's where we first met. We didn't meet here.
Oh, no. You asked where we last talked to
Oh,
each
that was last
other,
conversation.
right?
Okay, it's like so we first met. What did we talk about?
What did we talk about then?
Yes.
Well, you were kind of cagey about the details, but it sounded like you were trying to pick up all the vestiges in order to, she thinks about it. I guess there were some other people who were trying to collect them, and you were trying to get to them first or take them away from them or something like that. And maybe also repair some damage that had been done with all the demons.
Yes.
I mean, I'm kind of
Okay.
piecing it together. I didn't
So,
exactly
clearly
pry,
some-
but
And what'd you do after that?
after that, I tooled around with Tirsa for a while. We did some behind-the-scenes work to help deal with all the demons. I thought that she was going to hold on to me for longer than she did, frankly, but she said I could come back here.
Okay. Did you ever go to Dale's Harbor or Overwatch? That's Hearthstone. Casey, that's Hearthstone.
She says, no, I don't think so. No?
So you wouldn't know anything more about my backstory then, huh? My history.
I mean, like, look, I know there must be something going on. There are only a few of us Genasi in this entire place, and a lot of us, don't have two parents here. But, no, I didn't pry or anything.
Okay. So, do we mention the time stuff that was involved in what we were doing? The time stuff?
The time... I'm not sure what you're talking about, Kane.
So, like, we kept encountering temporals or whatever, whenever we, like, did certain things, and we kept changing timelines and things kept being different. This is one of those things.
She
You
looks at you and says, do you want to talk about this? Well, no, actually, come to think of it, no. Maybe we should talk about it
walking
here.
and talking.
No.
I thought we were,
Oh,
no,
you're walking and talking? Okay, never mind. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We're doing that.
and so, like, you left Einadgerd with, well, you didn't leave with us, but you left Einadgerd and met up with us in the other place that's not Einadgerd. So we have a lot, we've talked a lot more.
Why would... I mean, like, you seem to have some way of coming back, but we didn't, so I don't know why we'd leave. We didn't leave, Kane.
We all lived together, or we came back to our non-group together. Please believe me. This is like, I'm gonna seem weird because we've talked a lot more than we have.
She looks at you, and actually, let me get my die back up. I thought I was done with it, but I'm not. Okay. She looks at you and says,
I did that.
Kane, I believe you.
Okay, good. That's a good first. That's a good start. Okay. I just wanted to explain my weirdness, really, more than anything else.
Yeah, she says, I mean, look, Kane, I know you're the kind of person who's practiced at lying, but I can tell you're not lying, so...
We spent weeks on a boat. Like we all did. The whole group, you, Tirsa, some other people who I can't remember, they are probably relevant.
So, Kane, the place we're going is right around the corner. How about we go in, get some food, and then we go through this, and you tell me what happened. All right?
Okay. Also, one quick question: is Tirsa here?
Actually, let me think about that. Actually, I think she might be. I haven't seen her for a few days, but she said something about checking in with Catriel.
I know who that is. She drugged me or something. I don't like her. Anyway, moving on. Let's go get some food. I brought wine. I go into the bag of holding where I took the wine from Killian's house. I got
How
some
full is
funny
the
wine.
wine bottle?
How cold? I mean,
How full?
oh, how full? I say I don't know what the temperature is. I figured it was like space and like it didn't have temperature.
No, Tindos is like a desert town, basically. It's like an oasis town, but
Yeah, but the bag.
yeah.
I figured the
Yeah. No, but I'm not talking about temperature though. I'm asking how much liquid remains in the bottle of wine.
oh, like half.
Okay. She looks at it and says, "Oh, you started without me."
It was breakfast. I've gotten used to wine.
She looks at you and says, "I'm cool with this."
All right, lunch wine. Let's go.
All right. You head in. Um, I would like to jump back to Fallon and Colleen.
Cool.
So Fallon and Colleen, the two of you make your way to the Temple of Innis, which Tindos of all towns is the one, like other than the Tower of Innis itself, it is the one that has the most followers of Innis. The temple is uh, quite magnificent. Um, make your way up. There's a sort of large antechamber. You mention to an attendant who you are, and they sort of go running back. A moment later, they come back to you and say, "All right, I can show you to Priestess Venisari um, and Miss Cantanio." Assuming that you go along, they guide you.
Yeah.
They guide you through a few hallways, up a few flights of stairs to where you're now up on the fourth level of the temple. Going past a few not like obviously not like military style or anything, but what are obviously a few checkpoints along the way. And finally bring you to a modest receiving room, and he says, "They're right behind that door. Um, just you can just knock and let yourselves in. Is there anything else that you need before I leave?"
I'd just like to say this is a pretty modest receiving room. It's
He
just my observation.
he nods and says, "But it is the most comfortable."
Sorry, I just
No,
they
no, no.
lead you to a
I
modest
know why you
receiving
said that. I'm
room.
just playing it straight. I'm just
I
playing it
know.
straight.
So I do the knock.
All right. And you hear, you recognize the voice that greets you as Nisia. It says, "Yes, come in." You let yourselves in, and you see two people in there. One, someone with whom you only briefly interacted, an old elven priestess dressed in the robes of Innis. This is Antiniel Venisari, the person who initially set you on your journey all this time ago. You also see Nistia, but this is yet another version of her because she what? How shall I put this? She's not openly wearing armor or weapons, but you can immediately see from her bearing and from the style of her clothes that this is not the style of a priestess any longer. Actually, it kind of reminds you of the sort of wear that you've seen on Anya before. So you enter, and Nistia looks at the two of you and says, it's good to see you both again. She looks up at Antiniel and says, the priestess has something she'd like to talk to you about, but first of all, just thank you for coming. Is there anything you need before we, get straight down to business? Okay, I'm sorry. I know I feel
Sorry, I considered saying that you need to really do. I think you should really do something about that receiving room. It's just honest for my liking, and I don't think Innes would appreciate this. No. So, I'll just mention to Colleen here that she doesn't even look the same, does she? Does she, Colleen? Colleen.
When do we get all back together here?
We've been on you and Fallon for a little while now.
Yeah, me and you are at the Tower of Innis. That's the local chapter.
You're in a modest receiving room.
Yeah, well, we're past that, but we're at the local chapter of Innis Lovers Anonymous, the ILA, if you will, and we're being received, or we're being received by a slightly different version of Nistia, and then the really old elf lady who Casey has preempted us by telling us that she's ornery. So, and I'm mentioning to you that Nistia looks even different than before. So.
Okay. I followed all of your sass. I just thought we were peanut gallery Kane's adventure.
Oh, no. We're on you guys now. We transitioned. All right. So Nistia says, all right. Well, and Antiniel says, yes, fair enough. Fallon, you can probably guess what I want to talk to you about. I'd like to speak to you about the vestiges.
Hold on, guys, 1 second.
Yep.
Did you still want me to answer that she seems different?
Yeah. Sorry, my wife just jumped on me for something. What do you want to talk about?
Right. She says, I'm looking to speak to you about the vestiges. And I was...
Oh, that's right, the letter.
Indeed. Nistia and I have slightly different ideas about what might be done with them, but in the end it comes to this. We'd like to ask you to consider working with us to safely stow them away. And actually, let's end there for tonight. Unless you have a one-liner.
No, I don't have a good one.
Okay. So that is where we will end for tonight.
Yeah,
I have a good one about not being able to keep it in your pants.
Hey, man.
On that note, good night stream, good night recording, good night all that.